right? That's where we're up to now. So the Chazal tell us some amazing things about the 10 plagues, right? First of all, the issue was like this, right? That as we talked about last week, they went to Paro, Moshe and Aaron. They spoke to him. So what happened was that once that whole episode occurred, where the rod of Moshe Rabbeinu, right? By the way, what was that rod made from? Do you know what it was made from? It was made from some kind of like a blue stone, like a sapphire kind of thing.
What?
You know, the rod that he was using, that special rod, right? It was made out of a sapphire, so it was like something really special, something really beautiful, and it had also etched in it like abbreviation of what?
The Lord.
Abbreviation of all the plagues was there.
Oh,
can you imagine?
Like
all the plagues were etched into the rod.
Like a pilot.
So what happened was that once as we said, right, that the first episode occurs where Moshe Rabbeinu and Aaron go in there, and they do the trick with the snake. It turns into a snake. So what happens is, right, that Paro laughs at that. He chuckles at that, right? Chuckles and he says, you know, even the little kids in my country can do that stuff, you know. So he brings, first of all, he says he brings his wife. You know, he tells wife, go do it yourself. His wife also did it. You know, she also turned a rod in. And she also had them do it, like, you know, like making fun. Look at this, you know. Even the little kids, you know, kindergarten boys, they know how to do this stuff. Give me a break, you know what I mean?
And then they kick the staff, the kids.
So what was he trying to say? He was trying to say that, you know, like you're trying to bring in the sorcery and impress us with that. I mean, we're the masters of sorcery over here. What are you talking about? You know, our whole country is.
In
the
movie with Charlton Heston, Yul Brynner goes, a cheap magician's trick.
That's what we said, right? What happens is like this now, that once, what happens is that Kadosh Baruch Hu made a great miracle here. What was the great miracle? The great miracle was that not only did the snake of Moshe Rabbeinu, the rod, swallow up their snakes, but what happened was that it was a miracle. Why? Because first it turned back into a rod, and then it swallowed the snakes. In other words, as a rod, he swallowed it, not as a snake. You know what I mean? So he made it like this was like more of a miracle, that a rod is coming and swallowing up two snakes. And then what happened was that there was also another miracle, which was the one that even though it swallowed up those two snakes, it didn't become larger or bigger, you know, it didn't expand. There was no expansion there. So it stayed the same size as it was. So once Paro sees this, right, he sees all this stuff going on, he's getting really scared, getting really frightened. Why? Why is that? He says, you know what, look what's going on over here, right? They're swallowing up these snakes. Who's to say that I'm not next on the menu, you know? Maybe this thing is going to swallow me too. You know what I mean? So he was very scared of that rod. He got really, really, really frightened from that. So what happened was, at that point, right, as we said, then he declared himself into a god, you know, because he said, right, what happened was that he, right, so our God is the real God. He's the one who created the world. This is not just, you know, some cheap god, you know, some cheap idol that you guys, you know, are hanging on to. This is the one who created everything, created you, created us, created the whole world, he created the God. You know what I mean? I'm trying to explain to them. So he gets very offended by this. Why? Because he himself considers himself God. So why was he offended? He said, this is not true what you're saying, he tells them. Why not true? So he tells them, I created myself, and I created the Nile River over here in Egypt. I created all this. I'm the God.
Did he actually believe in this, or
no? He knew it was fake, but you know, I mean, but it was an ego trip, you know. You know, so he says, it's not true what you're saying. I'm the God. There is no God like that who created me and created the Nile River. I created those things.
Exactly.
When he used to go over there to visit him over there, when he was doing his duties over there, to hide it so nobody should see it, you know, that he's not a God, you know, whatever. Gods don't go to the bathroom, right? So therefore, what happened was like this, right? He said, I want you to go there early in the morning, just about as he starts, you know, taking a pee, whatever, you know, one of these things, right? So at that point, right, grab him by the shoulder, and put the rod next to him. You know why? Because he was going to remember that rod, you know, which was a snake. You know, so he may think that was going to swallow him. So he was getting scared. You know, like he sees the rod, you know, he gets startled. He's like, oh my God, this thing is coming to swallow me, you know? As he's going inside the water, can you imagine? And this thing is coming to swallow him, and he considers, I don't want your honey and I don't want your sting.
He made a
you know how they say.
He made a lot of trouble for Netanyahu right now.
Okay.
with the government.
So getting back to what we said all the time. So what happened was that he got frightened and startled like this every time that Moshe Rabbeinu would come. You know? To kind of like, put him in his place, Oh, you created the Nile, huh? You're creating, what you're doing, right? You're creating some waste stuff there inside the Nile. That's what you're creating. That's the only thing you created. That's what they're telling you. You understand? So now, what happens is that Moshe Rabbeinu, the reason why we have to ask the reasons, right? We talked about the first plague, which was the blood. So we have to understand why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu bring that plague on them, the blood. There were several reasons for that. And why in the Nile River, right? What was the whole... The Nile River was the mikveh, you go into the river, that's a mikveh, So therefore, they used to block them from going in there. Don't allow them. They shouldn't have children, they shouldn't procreate, they shouldn't,
Where Moses was found.
Yeah. So what happened was that HaKadosh Baruch Hu punished them by bringing them blood, right? To remind them of that sin. The whole thing of the impurities with blood. So in order to punish them for that, he brought them the makkah, the plague of blood, to remind them of that sin. There was also another thing, right? There was also another thing there, that what? The Egyptians had several gods that they used to worship, right? So one of them was the Nile River itself. You understand? The Nile River was like a god for them. Why do they consider it to be a god? Because the Nile River pretty much sustained the country. That's what happened, right? The Nile River, if it wasn't for... This was the way they did it, This was the way they survived. So the Nile River to them was like a very crucial, some existential kind of asset.
Part of life.
So HaKadosh Baruch Hu told them, right, the Nile is a god, huh? So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to smite your god, right? And put in their blood. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu punished their god. In order to show them, right, that their God is worthless, meaningless, he has no power over him. Right? God is greater than all these idols, right? That's what he's trying to tell them. So this is the reason why he brought the blood on them, because of this reason. Of all these issues. So we mentioned, right, last week also that Jews got rich from this because they were selling water, right? They got into the Congress over there, there's the shutdown, there's all kinds of stuff, They have deal, right? Doing this, why doing that, you're destroying the country, you're this and that, okay? A lot of drama, this is all for the show, to make a big show. So what happened was, right, that the second one, now, right, they come back to Paro again. And they say, this time it's going to be frogs, right? So now the question is, right, why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu decide to bring frogs on them? What was this whole idea?
Well, that came because the water was polluted.
Oh, okay.
The frogs came out of the water.
I was curious, evil in it, or because it has merit.
No,
Say if Moses, people were eating from it, they were living from it. The river has merit.
Okay, so
how can you just smite it like that? It has to have some sort of
right, but the river is just just a creation of God. It doesn't have its own
okay.
You know what I mean? It doesn't have its own
volcano gas
merit or not merit. It's just a creation of God.
Because Moses himself could not smite the water.
Oh yeah, we're going to talk about that. Yes, good reminded me.
No, that's not the river.
Yeah, we're going to talk about
That's
that.
not the premise of it.
It was, I know.
No.
Iron oxide is the reason why it
The
turned
premise
red.
is he's writing the third testament.
That's true.
Okay. So now comes the Moshe Rabbeinu. Right, again, he comes to him in the Nile River, right, and tells him again, right. They grab him. Up. What are you doing over here? You're going to make pee-pee again, huh? I see. Oh, you're the god, right? Okay, very good. So now, right? So what happens is, right, that now tells them next time it's going to be frogs, right? You better let them go now, otherwise you're going to get the frogs.
Okay.
So what was the reason why Kadosh Baruch Hu brought frogs on them? So the Chazal say the reason was because they used to tell the Jews, what happened was, right, that comes Moshe Rabbeinu and tells them like that. So the Paro refused, right? So what happened was, they say the next day, right after he refused, how did this whole thing start, right? According to the Chazal, the way it started was like this: that one big frog came out of the river, giant one, like Loch Ness monster, Godzilla. So one big Godzilla frog came out of there. You know what I mean? So once this Godzilla came out, they went, the Egyptians, they started to hit it, they took sticks. Started to hit, try to kill it, whatever. So what happened was that instead of, killing it, it turned into like a big...
And the flies.
So what happened now, right? So these frogs, they were not just some kind of a nuisance. This was like really a big makkah. It was a big plague.
They took over. Yeah.
Right. What happened was, these frogs started to come into the houses. So they went in. What they would do is they would go inside the kitchen, and start eating stuff, eating, and they would go.
Like the movie Frogs.
There's okay.
From the 70s.
Okay.
There is?
Yeah, Frogs.
So they went into the ovens, and as they were baking bread, they would go inside there and start eating the dough, and then they would get cooked in there, and all the smell stench would come out, all this stuff. Worse than that, you understand? What happened was they would go inside their body, they would penetrate their body. From where, right?
The focus.
Yeah, from there. They would penetrate in. They would go in there and start mutilating their, their intestines, and stuff like this. Their genitals, mutilating their genitals. That lady does. What's her name?
Medusa?
No, that lady, the Arab lady from Brooklyn.
Well,
What's her name?
From Brooklyn.
Nachshema, right, whatever. So, people like this, you understand? Munching them, munching on them, Chak, 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 chak.
that's already up to you.
Mutilation, But not only that, right, the mutilation, and as we said, right, the nuisance with the food, they were going inside the food, they would jump inside there, you couldn't eat it anymore, disgusting, everything was disgusting, so they were jumping inside there like that. But not only that, right, they say that even worse than all this, all the pain they had to endure, and all the nuisance that there was, and all the stench. Yeah. Besides that, they say the worst thing was what? The noise, right? They would
cover the area so that
vibration noise. Who can fight against Hashem? Nobody can fight against Hashem.
Then they can kill them.
They were going in there, you understand, and making screaming in there, like a studio, studio effect.
Is that why I'm constipated?
You could have maybe have frogs.
God is punishing me for something.
Have frogs.
We'll give you some advice for that, don't worry. So we have some advice for that. But anyway, right, that's the way it was. So this was a very terrible thing, So what happened was, right, that Paro was so, they made him crazy. Why? Because they all over his palace, They were making noise, cricket, Now, right,
Lisa, you were asking very specific questions.
There must be an insane asylum.
People probably one committed suicide, one nuts. I don't know.
Obviously, but
probably if you can't sleep. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's be realistic.
So
you're right. I mean,
right?
You have a little bit of pain,
That's
like
just
I
one.
did last week. A back pain. I was thinking of jumping out the window. Of course.
Wow.
Like a frog.
You're going to be. People are very fragile.
Yeah.
Right?
So
I would never commit suicide.
It's not worth it. It's better to live. It's more enjoyable.
Yeah, especially
for the
when
atheists.
Right.
So the thing was like this, right? That this makkah, this plague was also similar to the first one. What does that mean? That again, right? The curse came out of the Nile River. So meaning what? That whatever they considered to be their god, right? That's where the curse came from. From there, the damage came to even themselves out, make it even.
Get the sorcerer over
So they used to bring the sorcerers and do the same as the Jews used to do. What does that mean? They came and they made blood out of water, just like the Jews did, to show that they could also. You know what I mean?
Keep his power.
They also started to make frogs also like that, They succeeded, by the way. They understand? So they were trying to prove, you see, this is all sorcery, Don't joke with us. You're bringing us these things. It's all sorcery. We're not, you're not any better than us with sorcery. We know just as good as you, if not better.
A magician's god.
Who are you? So who are you to tell us, what to do because of these things? That was the idea. You know what I mean? This was the whole, this was the whole thing. So what happened was, right, that now the third one was a little bit different, right? So therefore, what happened was, right, that now Paro's magicians tried to make also the lights as well, to prove that they could also do it. This time they didn't succeed though, right? Why is that? This time they couldn't go with the program. You understand? They fell out of the program.
Why was that?
What was the reason why? So Chazal explained, right, that since they were using sorcery doesn't have power over creation that is smaller than a barley. Born barley grain,
Okay.
So since the lights are smaller than a barley, you cannot create them with sorcery. There's no way to do that. In other words, sorcery has limitations. God has no limitations, you understand? So therefore, this time they tried to use sorcery. Okay, so anyway, right, this is the finger of God. That's what they tried to tell, right? Moshe Rabbeinu. Also, the Chazal tells us, by the way, all these plagues that Moshe Rabbeinu was not able to do them himself. Aaron had to do them.
Aaron.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know why? Why that is?
Aaron
Because
was the high
since
priest.
see Moshe Rabbeinu,
Oh, yeah.
right? He benefited from two things in Mitzrayim, from two creations. This is connected with what you said, by the way. I'll explain to you why. Because Moshe Rabbeinu benefited from two things there. What did he benefit from? Accepted the body of the Egyptian, buried, like took it in, sucked it in, by the land sucking it in like that he shouldn't be, exposed about the murder. So therefore, the land did him a favor by accepting the body of the Egyptian. So therefore, Hakadosh Baruch Hu told him, because the land helped you, you're not allowed to smite the land. You cannot take revenge. You cannot repay bad for good. That's the idea.
In Rashi, said that he took the dust and he threw it, right?
That's a different one. Right? So what was that was we're talking about now, right? The lice. The lice came from the land.
Right.
That's what happened, right? But the first two plagues, they came from where? They came from the Nile.
Right.
And also that he was not allowed to smite that.
They dried up
Right?
too. Did the Nile dry up also? All the irrigation?
Not that I know of. It didn't dry up. But what we're saying is right that the Nile also did a favor to Moshe Rabbeinu. What was the favor that it did? That when he was put in there in the casket, to save him, the Nile didn't drown him. So therefore, he also owed him a favor, right? So Kadosh Baruch Hu told him, listen, since you owe a favor to the Nile, the water, and you owe a favor to the land, don't smite those things. Let your brother do it, right? And by the way, it shows you it's a moral lesson that somebody who does you good, don't repay him with bad. You know what I mean? Don't be such a senseless person who doesn't remember, has no loyalty, has no appreciation. You know what I mean? Remember the good that a person did to you. Don't repay him with bad. There are people like that, You do them something good, they repay you back with bad.
A lot of people.
There are people like that. Okay. You can give us a list later on, right? Okay, so we should know what to watch out from these people.
A lot of people like that.
Okay.
People don't care.
Yeah. To the old text here.
He doesn't know what I told you, so. About Daniel. The book of Daniel.
It's okay, you can know.
927 of Daniel, what it talks about.
Why?
Right.
He was looking it up.
What is it all about?
About, in the book of Daniel, prior to, they're talking about Messiah coming in such and such a time. It's had to do with some kind of prophecy or something.
Also, I want to tell you something interesting, right? While we're scrolling down here, interesting idea. That when Moshe Rabbeinu came to Paro, Moshe and Aaron, they told them something a little bit strange. They said to them, you know what? We have to go out 3 days. Let the people go. They didn't really tell them to let them go altogether. They said we have to go 3 days and offer sacrifices to God. That's all. He said, you see, right? It looks like they lost their way. They lost their project. They lost their goals. So now we can go and get them. It seems like they don't know what they're doing. They got confused. You know what I mean?
Like
so the whole reason was right to entrap Paro, to get him to come out there. This was to come out there and wage war against the Jews
in open field.
What does that mean? That he wanted to give the Jews even more spoils. Why? Because the Egyptians gave spoils to the Jews when they left. They gave them their jewelry, they gave them their clothing, and all kinds of stuff. They emptied it out basically. They emptied out the country. They took out all their stuff. But then what happened was that when they came to Yam Suf, when they came to the Red Sea, over there they had even more stuff that they brought. Why is that? What's the reason why?
Bring all the wealth you have to war.
Right. So then, but if they already emptied out Mitzrayim when they left, so what was left over there? All kinds of stuff down in the earth, down in the tunnels over there. So then, when they came out, they took all that stuff too. That was even more. There was even greater amount of stuff there. So this is the reason why, right? That Hakadosh Baruch Hu fooled Paro into this, and that's the reason why they told them we're going for 3 days only. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to pay the Jews for all the work they did, right, for 210 years. So therefore, he wanted to empty out all the wealth of Mitzrayim, everything. Right? Empty out the whole thing. Yeah. They say over here in the Midrash, by the way, also Chazal, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is destined to bring these plagues that you see over here. He's also destined to bring them on Gog and Magog, right, on the Romans, when they're going to come, right, against the Jews. He's going to bring also... Romans is, Europe, that's what it is, the European people. That's what it is, basically.
They're all considered Romans?
Yeah, they're all Romans, because they're, you know what it is?
What about America?
We are living through a Roman thing right now.
Yeah, so the way it works is like this, right, that...
Split.
The whole thing with the Romans, right? The history goes like this: history of the Romans. What happened was that Europe was in the hands of Bnei Yefet, right? Yefet was one of the sons of Noah. So they inherited Europe, Italy, Greece, Spain, all these places, right? Germany also, yes, Germany, right? Scandinavia, all these places. Yefet, right, was one of the sons of Noah.
Of Noah.
Right. So what happened was that they made like a pact with the local populace there, which were from Bnei Yefet,
Germanic tribe,
right? And they made a pact with them to make one nation. That's the way it was. You understand? So what happened was that the Romans became a dominant culture there. Because the Bnei Yefet were not as successful as them. They didn't have the success that the Romans had.
Yes.
The Romans were more successful because why did they have success? Because they came from Abraham and Yitzchak. They had that blessing. They had the blessing of Abraham Yitzchak Avinu. So because of that, they had a tremendous blessing. They came from those forefathers, and therefore, right, were twin brothers.
The Romans.
The Romans.
We're twins.
Uh-huh.
So what happened was, right, that it says, right, in the book Josephus, right? There's a book called Josephus. So over there, it documents this whole thing, right? It says that who was to come to Rome from the sons of Esav? This was the grandson of Esav came, right? Who was the son of Eliphaz. His name was Tsebo, right?
It's in the
Right.
Chumash, it says.
Yes. So he came, right? And he was the one who became the first king over there in Rome. You understand?
This is before the establishment of Rome in Italy.
They were the ones who established it. They were the ones who
this is
yeah.
before that.
Obviously, they were the ones who did it.
So
right?
basically, they're all Jews, whether they like.
No, they're not
No,
Jews because the Esav left Judaism. He abandoned Judaism.
Right, but
he was
the followers of
Yeah.
who they don't consider the real Jews. They consider themselves.
Well, this is like the game. We play. Play these games. Whatever. Now you know who the real Jews are, right? The Africans are the real Jews.
Right,
now,
right.
You know how it is, right?
Dark skinned.
Yeah, those. Yeah. They're the ones. They're the real Jews. Yeah,
They
right.
say.
But
But those are the ones.
yeah.
But
Give me a break.
Those are the ones that they gave the ringworm to.
So.
Because we
They
didn't
gave the
accept.
ringworm.
Right.
We didn't accept
Israel.
The Messiah.
Government.
They're going to attack.
No question about it. They will, right? The only question is, right, the truth is, we know for sure they're going to attack. But the only question is, will America be a part of that or no? That's the question. That we're not really sure. You know why?
No.
Because America is a very friendly country. Okay, so maybe they have some hope.
He's the head of Esau.
Yeah, so maybe there's some chance. But I wouldn't bet my money on it. Let's put it this
So then
way.
what's with the queen then? She runs things too. She runs this
He's
country.
Esau. All the kings of Europe are all Esau. Nikolai, the Archduke Prince Ferdinand, all these people are their descendants, man.
Okay.
They're not Jews.
They're not Jews.
They're not Jews. They never accepted the Torah. They were never part of Egypt. They were not there. They were not from Jacob. They were all from Esau. They're not Jews. They're Hebrews. Not even Hebrews. They're from the family of Abraham.
He told them, listen, he said, do you want to be a part of our nation? Or, what do you want to do? Because, we're going to have to go to slavery. Yeah. So Esav said, slavery? He says, I don't want to be a part of that. Leave me alone. Get out of my face. So,
I don't like the UN.
So, you know what Yaakov told him? He said, okay, fine. So then if you don't want to be a part of our people, let's split our ways. Let's part our ways. You go to your place, I'm in my place. You know what I mean? Let's part our way. So Esav said, fine. If that's all I have to do, just to get out of this decree of slavery, I will leave. So, because Yaakov told him, he said, if you want to stay in Israel, you have to take upon that decree. So Esav said, I'm out of here. So he packed his bags.
But what does that have to do with his beliefs?
What does that have to do with beliefs? Because he didn't want to be part of the Jewish people. He didn't want to, you know what I mean? He didn't want
to be a slave, but
He didn't want to accept the Torah. Right. He didn't accept the Torah. Yeah. The whole package he didn't want. He didn't want the whole package, right?
He was not interested.
So what happened was that he left, right? Esav.
Want to be a slave?
That was a part of the package. You understand? You have to accept the whole package. You cannot be like partially. One thing you accept, one thing you don't accept.
Right.
Either you take the whole thing or nothing, right?
Sovereign.
One or everything, right? That's the way it is. So Esav totally removed himself for the holiness, right?
There are Jews that did that.
Yeah.
They did that.
What about
Sure.
the fact that
You know who actually? A lot of Hollywood Jews. You remember Ephraim Zimbalist Jr.?
Yes.
His daughter was in the show Remington Steele
Okay.
with Pierce Brosnan. They came here, the Zimbalist family,
Yes.
from Europe as Jews, and they converted. And when they asked the father what happened, he said, as far as I'm concerned, there hasn't been a Jew in this family for 60 years.
Right. So my point.
No, Nissan, no.
It's in the Chrome.
A tendency to veer off and not make up
There's
things,
a God,
but
right? Because of his chromosomes.
there were Jews from both sides of the family. You understand? These were Jewish families,
Okay.
real Jews. Whether they were not observant Jews doesn't make any difference. Even if they didn't keep any of the mitzvot, they were still Jews.
By blood.
So let's go to the next.
They decided to remove themselves.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
Same way is
Right.
what he's talking
And
about.
there's not too many Jews.
Sure. So now, right? So Kadosh Baruch Hu
He's
tells.
dropping the yoke of the Torah, right? Basically saying, I don't want to.
Yeah, everything, the whole thing, from A to Z, you know what I mean? But these people, right, the Chazal tell us, the ones who are secular Jews, but they're still dangling on, hanging on, they're still hanging on, you know what I mean?
Most of them are proud to be. I mean, when you ask Schumer,
sure.
he's a prick, but he'll tell you about
Even Bernie.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
a Jew.
You know what it is?
Trotsky ate.
It's good.
He married a boy.
Before I tell you.
Thank you. Oh, Yasha. Oh, Yasha's the best. Yasha's the best.
Yasha is the real Jew.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%.
Big religion. I'm Jew, really Jew. I'm
big
real
as-
Jews, but
Yeah, of course.
not big religion. I believe God, everything, but
Kadosh Baruch Hu send them all these kinds of beasts. By the way, this beast included all the beasts. We're talking about
Oxen.
right, everything, the whole gamut, right? Tigers, lions, bears, right? The eagles, birds, all kind of stuff. Everything that you could think of. Right?
Dinosaurs.
By the way, they say that even the animals that don't usually bite, don't usually attack, even those attacks start to attack. Like goats,
They knew you
like
were
sheep.
Jewish, that's why.
Can you imagine?
They go after the Jews.
So they started all coming biting them. So they said, you know what? If you don't do it this time, now it's gonna be attacked by the animals. So what happened was that right this time, why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu bring this plague on the Egyptians? Right, the fourth one. What was the reason of this one? Because they used to tell the Jews like this, right? We want you to. So what happened was, right? These animals were coming and biting them, killing them, eating them. Can you imagine? They used to come eat. They used to eat the Egyptians alive. Eat them alive, come and attack them, drink their blood. They were like mutilating them, total mutilation. That's what
So
happened.
we've had some revenge.
This was the.
Most will do
You
better.
tell me all this is going to happen on a massive scale in Gog and Magog?
Can you imagine?
It's ridiculous.
Listen, so Rabbi,
Yeah.
epidemic. What epidemic was it?
The truth is, right, regarding the epidemic that you say, they say the Chazal something amazing, right?
The skin thing.
That the epidemic, right, which was like pestilence, pestilence basically.
Uh-huh.
This pestilence was coming with every one of the plagues together, as like a double whammy, together like a cocktail, a little pestilence, the boils.
Boils and
Right.
blisters on their bodies,
It's insane.
and that's not fun. You ever get a boil on your butt?
No.
You can't sit.
I take showers every day.
You have to keep it clean. You have to cut it open. Yeah, a lot of stuff going on. And then what happened after that? Oh,
So this was also a lot of miracles involved with this, right? With the boils. Why? Because Moshe Rabbeinu basically, how did it all come? He took some dirt from the ground and he threw it in the air, right? And this became a miracle, and it went all over Egypt. This thing, right? So everybody got these.
everybody got it.
Right? Can you imagine? When heat up for us, some hot water, so they should get
Yeah, fix it up.
burned a little bit, on the skin or whatever, stuff like this. So therefore, right, heat up hot water, go into the hot water, test it out,
Yeah.
get some burns, some third-degree burns.
Suck it out.
So now I'm going to show you what it means to get a third-degree burn, right?
Listen.
Just like you did to the Jews, they're going to do to you as well, right? That's the whole idea.
Blisters.
So therefore, right, the Kadosh Baruch Hu brought the boils upon them as well, right? So then,
Disgusting.
Then it was hail, ice, and
also it was like a double thing. Why? Because inside there was fire in there as well. Outside there was ice, inside fire. So what it would do is come down and start burning things, double, right? Double whammy. This one was like a double. So together with the ice and fire together, And usually, right, they cannot coexist, right? Ice and fire.
Yeah,
One puts out the other.
But
But here they coexisted.
It's a condition that
At
causes
this
You know what I mean?
point-
It's coexistence,
At
together.
this point, they should realize God's hand when fire and water mix together.
So what happened was, right, the Moshe
There's a
Rabbeinu.
condition that makes the fire with the hail.
So what happened was Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu came and warned, right, the
There's
Egyptians.
something to be explained. He doesn't want to.
He said, "There's going to come now. They're going to come." This. So what happens is, right, that they warn them: if you have animals in the field, make sure to bring them in.
Right.
Why? Because they're going to get all killed. Anybody who's outside during the hail is going to get killed from the hail. It's going to be so hard,
Cooked.
right? So right, exactly, killed and whatever, both ways, right? So what happened was they say that most of the Egyptians did not take heed. They were so,
Stubborn.
hardened, right, stubborn. They didn't take heed. They left their animals. A lesson over here. What's the big moral lesson? The moral lesson is that these so-called God-fearing Egyptians, who heeded the word of God, they themselves, right, were also very wicked people. What does that mean? How do we know that, right? They say, right, that what? When Paro went out to chase after the Jews, the sea, right? He took out animals also. He took out, the horses, everything they took out to run and catch them.
Yeah, chariots.
So the question is, right, where did they find these horses, right? All of them were dead from the hail. So they say, where did they come from? They came from those God-fearing Egyptians, you understand? Those are the ones who gave Paro the horses to chase after the Jews. So you see, even the God-fearing ones, right? In the end, they betrayed the Jews as well.
Yeah.
So
You're animals. He says it straight up. You're asses. He straight up. He says it in the Quran. What do you think, man? He knows. They know themselves. Sorry.
Only 14.
as we said, right, that they were the ones who supplied the animals to chase after the Jews. That was the whole thing. So what do you learn from here? You learn from here, by the way, something interesting. That there are some, non-Jews who are very friendly, very nice, they're gentle, this and that, But even they are not considered to be a part of us. So what does that mean? They're not going to be loyal to us in the end. In the end, they'll be loyal to their nation. You know what I mean? When the critical time comes, they will betray us. Do nothing to us. They won't harm us.
When the Bahrains
But no, you shouldn't think that.
Unless they're
when the
attacked.
Bahrain, let's do this. Bahrain were leaving Uzbekistan.
Yeah,
A lot of people were friends with like Uzbeks, Tajiki.
Yeah.
They're all Muslim.
yeah.
30 years friends, 50 years fathers were friends. When they were leaving, they went nuts.
Yeah.
You know the guy for 30 years that I grew up with, we ate together, everything. They're
Right.
No, you're a Jew, get out of here. They started getting knives, going nuts.
What do you expect?
30 years the guy knows you, man. You grew up together
It
from
doesn't
age one.
matter.
You ate with him the same bread. You say, man,
It's like Exodus.
You see what I'm saying?
You understand the sickness?
That's exactly the point. Gentle and smart and intelligent, like the Germans. The Germans are like top-notch people.
Top-
Very intelligent. They're very gentle. They're very cultured.
very precise.
Amazing people. They're amazing.
But
They're amazing people. So that's what fooled the Jews over there. The Jews thought that, these people will never harm us. They'll never do anything to us.
Right.
They're so intelligent.
Highlight.
And it's right. They're just so, they're like amazing humans. They're amazing creatures.
Right.
They never will do such a thing
The
like
guy
that.
from JTF is absolutely right. Jews are idiots. They never learn.
German doctor, and so he goes there. He has a problem with his arm, So a German doctor, right? He comes into the office. So he tells him, "Okay, please, gentle, nice." Okay. So he starts to look at his arm, like very gentle, very sweet, it's good. Gives him a treatment, tells him, "Okay, thank you, have a good day, enjoy yourself, all of it, all the best." So this guy, right, comes out, from the office. And he's so impressed by this German doctor, He's so gentle, such a gentleman,
Yeah,
so intelligent,
refined.
just amazing, like something out of this world.
he knows his stuff.
So what happens is like this, right? That nonsense there.
No,
This was the main
I'm
idea.
just saying, I
So what happened was, right, that
actually
so that guy wound up in a concentration camp. The same guy, and the doctor was over there doing experiments on people. That same doctor, you know what I mean?
Gentle.
So right, gentlemen. So what happens is,
That's
right?
like
So now they bring him into this
Gain
doctor,
confidence.
and he remembers this doctor. He says, "Oh well, I'll be okay. This guy can't harm a fly, right?" So what do you do, right?
Cut his